The Nile is a river of legends, a ribbon of life that has nourished civilizations and cradled extraordinary wildlife for millennia. Stretching over 6,650 kilometers, it is the longest river in the world, winding its way through 11 countries and shaping the destiny of an entire continent. Its story begins not in the deserts of Egypt, as many believe, but deep in the heart of Africa, where lush rainforests and highland plateaus gather the waters that will become the Nile. Here, the vast and shimmering expanse of Lake Victoria, Africa's largest lake and the world's second-largest freshwater lake by surface area, collects the rains and springs that give birth to this mighty river. Lake Victoria alone covers more than 68,000 square kilometers, supporting millions of people and countless species. This is the source, the great beginning of a journey that will stretch for thousands of kilometers, shaping landscapes and destinies along its path. The river's journey is so long that it crosses the equator twice before reaching the Mediterranean Sea. The water that leaves the lake is young and energetic, embarking on an epic voyage northwards. Along the way, it will witness incredible transformations, from thundering waterfalls like Murchison Falls, where the river squeezes through a narrow gorge, to serene, sprawling wetlands teeming with life before it finally meets the sea. This is the story of the White Nile, the river's longest and most constant branch, which flows steadily even during the dry season, thanks to the vast swamps and lakes that feed it. As the Nile begins its long passage, it carves a path through the verdant heart of Uganda, a country of rolling green hills and rich, fertile soil. The river's floodplains here are among the most productive agricultural lands in Africa, supporting crops like bananas, maize, and sugarcane. The river here is known as the Victoria Nile, a youthful and powerful force of nature. Its swift currents and deep channels are home to a dazzling array of fish, including the legendary Nile perch, which can grow to over 2 meters in length. It tumbles over a series of rapids, its waters churning with an untamed energy that hints at the spectacular power it will soon unleash. These rapids are a magnet for adventurers and a vital part of the river's ecosystem, oxygenating the water and supporting unique aquatic life. This initial stretch of the river is a vital artery for the surrounding ecosystems, providing a constant source of water that sustains a breathtaking diversity of life. Over 300 species of birds, countless insects, and rare mammals depend on the river's flow. The banks teem with activity, from the smallest insects to the largest land mammals, all drawn to the life-giving flow of the water. Hippos wallow in the shallows, elephants come to drink, and crocodiles lurk in the reeds, waiting for an opportunity. It is a world where nature's rhythms are still dictated by the river's pulse. Each dawn brings a new chorus of life, as animals and people alike begin their day by the water's edge. The journey of the Nile is not a solitary one. It is a shared existence with the creatures and people who call its banks home. For many, the river is both a playground and a pantry, providing food, water, and a place to gather. For countless generations, this river has been a provider, a protector, and a source of deep spiritual significance. Ancient myths and legends speak of the Nile as a living being, a force to be respected and revered. It has shaped cultures, fueled economies, and provided a sanctuary for some of Africa's most iconic animals. The annual flooding of the Nile, once celebrated by the ancient Egyptians, brought rich silt to the land, making agriculture possible in otherwise arid regions. From the bustling fishing villages to the quiet, hidden corners where rare birds nest, the river's influence is everywhere. Its bounty supports entire communities, and its presence is felt in every aspect of daily life. Its waters tell a story of survival, adaptation, and the intricate, often fragile connection between humanity and the wild. Ingenious irrigation systems, some dating back thousands of years, still channel the Nile's life-giving water to distant fields. As we follow its course, we uncover a world of untamed beauty, a world that is both ancient and constantly changing. The river's moods shift with the seasons. From tranquil pools to raging torrents, this grand river system is more than just a geographical feature on a map. It is a living, breathing entity. Its waters connect distant lands, cultures, and histories, weaving together the story of Africa itself. Its journey from Lake Victoria to the Mediterranean Sea is a testament to the power of water to create and sustain life in even the harshest of environments. The Nile Delta, a lush fan of green in the midst of desert, is one of the most fertile regions on Earth. Along its banks we will encounter thundering cascades, vast swamps that stretch to the horizon, and epic migrations that rival any on Earth. The Sudd, a massive wetland in South Sudan, is so vast it can be seen from space and is a haven for millions of birds and animals. We will see how life has adapted to its seasonal floods and droughts, and how people have learned to live in harmony with its powerful currents. The river's annual rise and fall is both a challenge and a blessing, shaping the rhythms of life along its banks. The Nile is a wild water, a river whose untamed beauty continues to captivate and inspire all who witness its magnificent journey. From its mysterious source to its fabled delta, the Nile remains a symbol of life, resilience, and the enduring power of nature. The Nile's journey through Uganda reaches a dramatic climax at Murchison Falls National Park, the country's largest and oldest conservation area. This park, established in 1952, is not only a sanctuary for wildlife, but also a living testament to the enduring power and beauty of the Nile. Here the river's immense power is put on full display. After flowing calmly across a wide plateau, the entire volume of the Victoria Nile is suddenly forced through a narrow gorge, a chasm in the rock that is only 6 meters wide. Early explorers, awestruck by the spectacle, described it as the greatest waterfall in the world. The pressure is immense, the sound is deafening, and the result is one of the most powerful waterfalls on the planet. Over 300 cubic meters of water thunder through the gap every second, creating a spectacle that can be felt as much as seen. The water explodes through the gap, plunging 40 meters down into a frothing pool below, known as the Devil's Cauldron. Local legends speak of spirits that dwell in these swirling waters, guardians of the river's secrets. A perpetual mist hangs in the air, creating rainbows that dance in the sunlight, a beautiful spectacle born from raw, untamed force. For many visitors, witnessing this natural wonder is a transformative experience, a reminder of nature's grandeur. This national park is a sanctuary, a protected haven where wildlife populations have begun to recover after years of turmoil. The park's rangers, often called the Guardians of Murchison, risk their lives daily to protect its treasures from poachers and encroachment. The river is the centerpiece of this revival, drawing animals from the surrounding savannas to its life-sustaining waters. Each dawn and dusk, the banks become a stage for the drama of survival and renewal. Large herds of elephants, their grey hides glistening, make their way to the banks to drink, bathe, and cool off from the equatorial sun. Calves play in the shallows, watched over by protective matriarchs, a scene that speaks to the park's rebirth. They are the gentle giants of this landscape, their presence a sign of a healthy ecosystem. Some of the oldest bulls with tusks worn by decades of life are living legends, survivors of past poaching crises. Researchers have watched their numbers grow from just a few hundred in the 1990s to over 1,000 today. Through careful monitoring and community engagement, these guardians ensure the elephant's future. Shy bushbucks and graceful Ugandan kob, a rare type of antelope, can be seen grazing peacefully in the grasslands near the river, always alert to the slightest sound. Their presence is a sign of balance restored. The park is also a stronghold for some of Africa's most formidable predators. Lions, leopards and hyenas all play their part in the intricate web of life here. An estimated 130 lions roam these plains, their golden coats blending perfectly with the dry grasses. Each pride has its own territory, its own story of survival and kinship. Researchers from the Wildlife Conservation Society work tirelessly to monitor the four main prides, tracking their movements and ensuring their protection. Their efforts have led to remarkable stories of resilience and hope. One famous male, a survivor who lost a leg to a poacher's cruel snare, defied the odds and was successfully reintegrated into his pride, a testament to the resilience of these magnificent cats. His story has inspired conservationists and visitors alike, a symbol of hope against adversity. At night, another predator makes its presence known. The eerie calls of spotted hyenas echo across the savannah as they search for food, their small but significant population playing a crucial role in the park's ecological balance. Hyenas are the cleaners, ensuring nothing goes to waste. The skies above the river are just as full of life as the land below. From the rare and elusive shoebill to clouds of migratory swallows, the air is alive with movement and song. Murchison Falls is a paradise for bird watchers, with over 400 species recorded within its boundaries. Each season brings new arrivals, making every visit unique. The iconic call of the African fish eagle, a symbol of the African wilderness, rings out as it soars high above the water. Its piercing cry is the soundtrack of the Nile. Colourful colonies of red-throated bee-eaters nest in large numbers along the sandstone cliffs, darting out to catch insects in mid-air. Their vibrant feathers add splashes of colour to the riverbanks. Along the sandbanks, African skimmers glide low over the surface, their unique, longer lower beaks slicing through the water to scoop up small fish. Their feeding technique is a marvel of adaptation. It is a vibrant, bustling community of birds, each species perfectly adapted to life along this wild and beautiful stretch of the Nile. For the people who live nearby, the park is not just a haven for wildlife, but a source of inspiration, pride and hope for the future, a living reminder that with care and vigilance, even the wildest places can endure. Deep within the churning waters of the Nile and along its muddy banks, two of Africa's most ancient and formidable creatures reign supreme: the Nile crocodile and the hippopotamus. These giants have shaped the river's ecosystem for millions of years, their presence influencing everything from the behavior of other animals to the very landscape itself. The Nile crocodile is a living relic, a direct descendant of prehistoric reptiles whose ancestors roamed the earth alongside the dinosaurs. With armored scales, powerful jaws, and a bite force among the strongest in the animal kingdom, they are perfectly adapted for survival in these waters. In ancient Egypt, crocodiles were revered as gods, symbols of power, fertility, and the unpredictable might of the river itself. Temples were built in their honor, and the god Sobek was depicted with a crocodile's head. Today, the wild waters of Murchison Falls are home to some of the largest crocodiles in Africa, with individuals reaching lengths of up to 5 meters and weighing over 1,000 kilograms. Crocodiles are masters of ambush. They float motionless for hours, their bodies camouflaged as logs, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Their patience is legendary, and their attacks are sudden and explosive. With a burst of speed, they lunge from the water, seizing prey with astonishing precision. Their diet is varied: fish, birds, antelope, and even the occasional unwary zebra or buffalo that comes to drink. Sharing the river is the hippopotamus, whose name means river horse in Greek. Despite their rotund, almost comical appearance, hippos are among the most dangerous animals in Africa, responsible for more human fatalities than crocodiles. Hippos are fiercely territorial, especially in water. A dominant bull controls a stretch of river, defending it from rivals with displays of aggression, yawning to show off massive tusks or charging at intruders. Thousands of hippos live in large family groups called pods within the Nile's protected parks. These pods are social units with complex hierarchies and strong bonds between mothers and calves. During the heat of the day, hippos submerge themselves in the cool water, exposing only their eyes, ears, and nostrils. This adaptation helps them avoid sunburn and overheating as their sensitive skin dries out quickly on land. Territorial disputes between males can be violent, with powerful jaws capable of inflicting serious wounds. These battles help maintain the balance of power within the pod and ensure only the strongest males breed. At night, hippos leave the safety of the water to graze on grasslands, sometimes traveling several kilometers in search of food. They consume up to 40 kilograms of grass each night, playing a crucial role in shaping the riverbank vegetation. The lives of crocodiles and hippos are deeply intertwined with the river's seasonal rhythms. During the dry season, water levels drop, concentrating animals and increasing competition for space and resources. For crocodiles, the dry season is nesting time. Females select sandy banks above the high water mark, digging deep nests to lay up to 60 eggs. The mother guards her nest ferociously for 3 months, rarely straying far. Her vigilance is vital, as the eggs are a prized meal for many predators. Nile Monitor lizards, with their keen sense of smell, are among the most persistent threats, capable of devouring entire clutches if the mother is distracted. In a remarkable example of interspecies cooperation, the water-thick-knee bird often nests near crocodile nests. The bird's sharp eyesight and piercing alarm calls alert the mother crocodile to danger, increasing the survival chances of both their young. This unlikely alliance is a testament to the complex relationships that exist within the Nile's ecosystem, where survival often depends on cooperation as much as competition. The riverbank becomes a tapestry of life, with crocodiles, hippos, birds, and countless other species sharing the same space, each playing a unique role in the health of the ecosystem. The relationship between crocodiles and hippos is one of mutual respect and occasional conflict. Adult hippos are too large and powerful for even the biggest crocodile to challenge, but confrontations do occur, especially when territories overlap or calves are threatened. While adult hippos are safe, young calves are vulnerable. Crocodiles lurk nearby, ever watchful for an opportunity, but mothers are fiercely protective, forming defensive circles around their young. Calves must stay close to their mothers, learning to navigate the dangers of the river from an early age. This vigilance is crucial for their survival in a world where predators are always near. The Nile is a stage for daily dramas, hunts, chases, and narrow escapes. Every creature, from the smallest fish to the largest hippo, plays a part in the river's intricate web of life. As dawn breaks over the river, crocodiles and hippos bask in the golden light, guardians of a world that has remained wild and untamed for millennia. Their presence is a powerful reminder of the delicate balance that sustains the Nile's extraordinary ecosystem. After leaving the dramatic landscapes of Uganda, the Nile flows north into South Sudan, where it undergoes a remarkable transformation. Here the river slows down and spreads out, creating the Sudd, the largest freshwater wetland in Africa, a place where the river's secrets are hidden beneath a veil of mist and reeds. The name Sudd comes from the Arabic word for barrier, a fitting description for this immense and impenetrable swamp. Its tangled channels and floating islands have confounded explorers for centuries, and even today much of the Sudd remains uncharted. During the peak of the rainy season, the Sudd can expand to cover an area of 100,000 square kilometres, a vast labyrinth of open lakes, floating water meadows, and dense forests of papyrus reeds that can grow several metres tall. These papyrus thickets are so dense that they form floating mats, shifting and drifting with the current, concealing hidden pools and secret channels. This sprawling wetland is a world unto itself, a place of serene beauty and deep mystery, largely inaccessible to the outside world. The morning mist rises over the water, revealing a landscape that feels untouched by time. The Sudd's impenetrable nature makes it a perfect sanctuary for wildlife. Here, animals find refuge in the maze of reeds and water, safe from human intrusion. It is a haven where animals can live and breed far from human disturbance. The Sudd's isolation has allowed rare and elusive species to thrive, their lives unfolding in secret. Deep within the swamp lives an isolated herd of around 400 elephants, their movements hidden by the thick papyrus. These elephants are almost entirely protected from the threat of poachers by the sheer difficulty of navigating the terrain. The swamp is their fortress. They move through the dense papyrus, their great size allowing them to forge paths where others cannot follow, shaping the landscape as they go. The swamp provides them with an endless supply of food and water, allowing them to thrive in this secluded paradise. Here they are free to live as they have for generations. Their existence here is a secret kept by the swamp, a hidden population safe within its watery embrace. The Sudd guards its mysteries well. This vast wetland is also a paradise for birds, its skies and reeds alive with movement and song. Home to an astonishing variety of tropical Nile species, the Sudd is a vital breeding ground and stopover for countless migratory birds. Among the reeds stalks the Goliath heron, the largest heron in the world, standing at an impressive 1.5 meters tall. It moves with a slow, deliberate grace, hunting for fish in the shallow waters, a silent predator in a world of green. But the true avian jewel of the Sudd is the rare and elusive shoebill. This prehistoric-looking bird is a master of stealth, blending perfectly into the papyrus. This bizarre-looking bird, with its massive shoe-shaped bill and prehistoric appearance, is one of Africa's most sought-after sightings for bird enthusiasts. The Sudd is home to the largest population of shoebills in the world, yet they remain incredibly shy and difficult to find, their presence more often sensed than seen. Preferring the most remote and quiet corners of the swamp, the shoebill is a symbol of the Sudd's enduring mystery. The Sudd acts as a giant natural filter and regulator for the Nile River. Its wetlands are not just a sanctuary for wildlife, but a living, breathing system that sustains the river itself. Its vast network of plants, especially the papyrus, helps to purify the water, trapping sediments and absorbing pollutants, while the sheer size of the wetland absorbs the massive influx of water during the rainy season, acting as a natural sponge for the Nile. This prevents catastrophic flooding further downstream, protecting both people and wildlife. It releases this water slowly and steadily throughout the dry season, ensuring the river's flow never truly stops. This guarantees a more consistent flow for the communities and ecosystems that depend on the Nile in Sudan and Egypt, sustaining life far beyond the swamp's borders. This vital ecological role makes the Sudd not just a wildlife sanctuary, but a critical component of the entire Nile River system, a great green heart that regulates the flow of Africa's longest river. The Sudd's hidden secrets, unique flora and fauna, and its vital role in the health of the Nile make it one of the continent's most precious and mysterious landscapes. To the east of the Sudd, in the vast, unspoiled grasslands of South Sudan, one of Africa's greatest natural spectacles unfolds, a migration so immense it shapes the very rhythm of life along the Nile. As the rainy season begins, the landscape transforms. Torrential rains awaken the grasslands and a great movement of animals takes place, a massive migration that rivals the famous wildebeest migration of the Serengeti, yet remains far less known. For many years this event was largely unknown to the outside world, a secret hidden by decades of conflict and inaccessibility in the region. The herds moved in silence, their epic journey witnessed only by the land and sky. Only recently has its true scale been revealed, showcasing a wildlife phenomenon of breathtaking proportions, one of the largest terrestrial migrations on Earth. This migration is a powerful testament to the resilience of nature in one of the continent's most remote and wild corners, where survival depends on adaptation and endurance. The migration is led by over 1 million antelopes, a moving sea of life sweeping across the plains, crossing rivers and braving flooded grasslands in search of sustenance. The main participants are the white-eared kob, instantly recognizable by their striking black and white facial markings. Males often spar for dominance, their displays echoing the ancient rituals of the wild. Over 700,000 white-eared kob journey in vast herds, their numbers so great that they stretch from horizon to horizon. Calves and mothers move together, the young learning the ancient roots from their elders. They are joined by other species, such as the swift Mongalla gazelle, nimble and alert, and the tall, elegant tiang antelope, whose reddish coats stand out against the green. All are driven by an ancient instinct to follow the rains and the fresh grasses that sprout in their wake. The herds move with a single purpose: survival. This journey is a race for survival, not only against the elements but also against predators. Mothers must protect their calves from lions, hyenas and wild dogs that follow the migration, waiting for an opportunity. Their destination is Bandingalo National Park, an immense and pristine grassland covering 40,000 square kilometres. The park is a sanctuary, but the journey there is fraught with challenges: flooded rivers, parched stretches, and the ever-present threat of poaching. Here, the antelopes converge, creating one of the largest concentrations of mammals on the African continent. Waterholes become crowded and competition for resources is fierce. The air is filled with the sounds of their calls, the drumming of their hooves, and the low rumble of thousands of bodies moving as one. A living, breathing force of nature. The sheer number of animals is almost impossible to comprehend. A living landscape that is constantly in motion, day and night, as the migration never truly stops. This gathering is a critical part of their life cycle. The safety of numbers and the abundance of food allow the herds to rest, recover, and prepare for the next generation. In the safety of these vast numbers and rich pastures, the females give birth. Newborn calves take their first steps, hidden among the protective adults, ensuring the continuation of the next generation before the long journey back to the Sudd begins. The very existence of this great migration is a sign of hope, a testament to the enduring power of nature and the promise of renewal. It shows that even in areas that have faced immense challenges, conflict, habitat loss and poaching, wildlife can endure and even thrive if given enough space and protection. Conservation efforts and dedicated rangers are now vital guardians of this migration. The discovery and documentation of this massive movement have brought new attention to the importance of conserving these vast open rangelands. Scientists now use satellite tracking to better understand migration patterns and the challenges the herds face. It is a reminder that Africa still holds incredible secrets and that there are still wild places where nature's grandest dramas play out on an epic scale, places where the Nile's untamed beauty sustains life in all its forms. The great antelope migration of South Sudan is truly a symbol of the untamed spirit of the Nile Basin, a wild pulse that continues to beat strong year after year against all odds. For centuries, the vast alluvial lands of the Sudd have been home to the Dinka people, a nomadic ethnic group whose lives are intricately woven into the rhythms of the Nile and its seasons. The Dinka are one of the tallest peoples in Africa, with a proud and resilient culture that has adapted perfectly to this challenging environment of flood and drought. Their entire world revolves around their cattle, magnificent long-horned animals that are not just a source of food and wealth, but also the centre of their social and spiritual lives. For the children of the river, life begins and ends with the cattle. From a young age they learn to care for the animals, guiding calves through the grasslands and learning the songs that call the herds home at dusk. The number of cattle a person owns determines their status in the community, and the animals are treated with great reverence and affection. Around the evening fires, elders share stories with the children, tales of legendary cattle, heroic ancestors, and the river's moods. Children take part in rituals, decorating the cattle with beads and ash, learning the meaning behind each pattern and color. These traditions are passed down, binding each generation to the next. The Dinka people's lives are dictated by the river's seasonal pulse. During the long dry season, they move with their herds to camps set up along the permanent river channels and lakes within the Sudd. Here they have access to water for their cattle and engage in spearfishing to supplement their diet, which is based primarily on milk. Children play a vital role in daily life, fetching water from the river, helping to build temporary shelters, and learning to fish with hand-carved spears. Their laughter echoes across the water as they race along the banks, their feet bare and sure. Young boys practice their skills with spears, aiming at floating targets, dreaming of the day they will join the men in the canoes. Girls learn to weave baskets and mats from reeds, their hands nimble and quick, their songs blending with the calls of water birds. The river is both playground and classroom. Children paddle small canoes, learning to balance and steer, their eyes bright with excitement as they master the art of moving through the reeds. It is a time of relative plenty, a period of community living in the heart of the great swamp. Meals are shared, stories are told, and the bonds of kinship are strengthened. When the rainy season arrives, the Nile swells and floods the vast pastures, forcing the Dinka to move. They lead their precious herds out of the swamp to higher ground on the edges of the floodplain, where they build their temporary villages. Children help pack up the camps, carrying bundles on their heads, their faces a mix of excitement and worry as they prepare for the journey ahead. On higher ground they help build new homes, weaving grass for roofs and learning the skills that will one day make them leaders of their own families. This annual migration is a crucial part of their survival strategy, a pattern of movement that has been followed for countless generations. Children walk hand in hand, leading goats and calves, their songs rising above the lowing of cattle. They must time their departure perfectly to avoid being trapped by the rising waters. The children watch the river with awe, learning to read its signs and respect its power. This nomadic lifestyle requires a deep and intimate knowledge of the land, the weather, and the behavior of the river, a wisdom that is passed down from parent to child. Elders teach the children to read the clouds, to follow animal tracks, and to find safe paths through the wetlands. This knowledge is their inheritance, as vital as the cattle they tend. The culture of the Dinka is a powerful example of how humans can live in close harmony with a dynamic and powerful natural environment. Their connection to their cattle and the river is profound, shaping their songs, their stories, and their social structures. Children learn the old songs and dances, their voices rising in celebration of the river and the herds. In the evenings they gather for storytelling, their imaginations fired by tales of spirits and ancestors. They see themselves not as masters of the land, but as part of it, moving with its rhythms and respecting its power. The children, like their parents, learn humility and gratitude for the gifts of the river. In a world that is rapidly changing, the Dinka people offer a glimpse into a way of life that is deeply connected to the natural world, a life governed by the wild waters of the Nile and the needs of the herds they cherish. The children of the river grow up with the Nile as their constant companion, its moods shaping their games, its bounty sustaining their families, its dangers teaching them respect and resilience. In the heart of the Sudd, the children of the river carry forward the traditions of their ancestors, their lives forever shaped by the untamed beauty and power of the Nile. Despite its immense beauty and resilience, the world of the Nile is under siege from a growing array of threats, many of them driven by human activity, environmental change, and the complex challenges of conservation in a rapidly changing world. The wildlife that depends on the river faces a number of serious challenges, from habitat loss and pollution to direct conflict with people living along its banks. One of the most devastating threats, particularly around protected areas like Murchison Falls National Park, is poaching. Poachers set cruel wire snares, simple but deadly traps intended to catch antelopes for bushmeat. However, these snares are indiscriminate. They trap and kill any animal unlucky enough to walk into them, causing immense suffering and having a devastating impact on wildlife populations. Lions, elephants, and giraffes can all fall victim to these hidden dangers. The conflict between humans and wildlife is another growing concern. As human populations expand, settlements and farms are creeping closer and closer to the boundaries of national parks, fragmenting habitats and reducing the space available for wildlife. This proximity inevitably leads to conflict. Elephants may raid crops, and predators like lions may attack livestock, leading to retaliatory killings by frustrated farmers. These cycles of conflict can decimate local animal populations and fuel resentment toward conservation efforts. Furthermore, while fishing is not banned in the river within the park, the constant presence of fishing boats provides cover for poachers. They can move easily and discreetly along the river, setting their traps and transporting illegal bushmeat under the guise of legitimate fishing activities, making it incredibly difficult for rangers to patrol the vast area effectively. A different kind of threat floats silently on the water's surface. The water hyacinth, a beautiful plant with a lovely purple flower, is an invasive species native to Brazil. It was introduced to Africa and has since spread uncontrollably, infesting the Nile all the way from Lake Victoria to Egypt. The plant forms dense floating mats that cover the surface of the water, choking waterways and blocking sunlight from reaching aquatic plants below. This depletes oxygen in the water, killing fish and disrupting the entire aquatic ecosystem. It also makes navigation for boats difficult and can clog up hydroelectric dams, creating problems for both nature and people. Climate change is now emerging as a major threat to the Nile and its wildlife. Rising temperatures and shifting rainfall patterns are causing more frequent droughts and unpredictable floods, which can devastate both animal and human communities. These challenges cast a shadow over the future of the Nile's wild waters. The combination of direct persecution through poaching, increasing conflict over land and resources, the silent invasion of foreign species, and the unpredictable impacts of climate change puts immense pressure on this delicate ecosystem. Conservationists face enormous challenges: limited funding, the need for community support, and the difficulty of enforcing laws across vast remote areas. Education and collaboration with local people are essential, but progress is slow and hard-won. Protecting the Nile's incredible biodiversity requires constant vigilance, community involvement, and international cooperation. The fight to preserve this natural heritage is ongoing, a battle to ensure that the river's wild heart can continue to beat strongly for generations to come, and that the shadows on the water do not extinguish its brilliant light. Even in the face of significant challenges, there are powerful stories of hope and recovery along the Nile. Across its vast length, conservationists, local communities, and international organizations are working together to protect the river's unique ecosystems and the wildlife that depend on them. In Uganda's Murchison Falls National Park, wildlife populations have shown remarkable resilience. Once decimated during the civil unrest of the 1980s, many species have made a strong comeback thanks to years of dedicated effort. This recovery is a direct result of improved protection, community engagement, and innovative conservation strategies. Rangers and conservationists now use advanced technology like GPS tracking collars and drone surveillance to monitor animal populations and respond quickly to threats. The return of stability to the region has also brought back tourism. Visitors from around the world now travel to see the spectacular falls and the incredible wildlife, bringing in vital revenue that makes the protection of these animals profitable for local communities and the government. Local people are increasingly involved in conservation, with many trained as guides, rangers, and educators. Their knowledge of the land and its creatures is invaluable, and their participation ensures that conservation efforts are rooted in respect for both nature and culture. This positive change is driven by the hard work of rangers and researchers on the ground. Anti-poaching patrols work tirelessly to find and remove deadly snares, often saving animals from a slow and painful death. In one inspiring case, a lioness was found with her head caught in a snare, slowly suffocating. A team of veterinarians and rangers managed to tranquilize her and cut the wire just in time, saving her life. These individual acts of bravery and compassion, repeated day after day, are making a real difference. They demonstrate a growing commitment to preserving the park's natural treasures and turning the tide against illegal wildlife crime. The rediscovery of the great antelope migration in South Sudan is another profound reason for optimism. For decades, it was feared that the region's vast herds had been wiped out by years of conflict. The confirmation that over 1 million animals still undertake this epic journey was a moment of incredible celebration for the conservation world. This rediscovery has inspired new research projects, with scientists and local trackers working together to map migration routes and understand the needs of these animals. Their findings are helping to guide the creation of new protected areas and wildlife corridors. It highlighted the urgent need to protect the vast interconnected ecosystems of the Sudd and the surrounding grasslands. Community conservation meetings are now a regular occurrence where villagers, elders, and conservationists discuss ways to balance human needs with the survival of wildlife. This discovery has spurred new conservation initiatives aimed at safeguarding these migration corridors and establishing a peaceful coexistence between wildlife and the local communities. Projects to restore habitats, plant native trees, and monitor water quality are underway, often led by local youth and women's groups. These successes show that with dedication, investment, and political will, it is possible to protect and restore even the most threatened ecosystems. The return of tourism, the dedication of conservationists, and the sheer resilience of nature itself offer a powerful glimmer of hope for the future of the Nile's wild waters. The journey ahead is still long and the threats have not disappeared, but these positive stories of rediscovered migrations, rescued animals, and communities uniting for conservation show that a future where both people and wildlife can thrive along this great river is not just a dream but an achievable reality. The Nile story is shifting from one of loss to one of recovery and hope. With every new project, every animal saved, and every community empowered, the river's wild heart beats stronger than ever. The Nile's immense journey has fascinated humanity for centuries, but for a long time its origin remained one of the world's greatest geographical mysteries. From the earliest days, the river was a source of wonder and speculation, its waters inspiring legends and dreams of distant lands. Ancient civilizations wondered where the life-giving waters came from, but the river's upper reaches were too remote and difficult to explore. Greek historians like Herodotus wrote of the Nile as a river shrouded in mystery, its source hidden deep within the heart of Africa. Over the centuries, Arab traders and medieval explorers ventured further up the river, bringing back tales of vast lakes and impenetrable forests. Yet, the true source remained elusive. The search for the source of the Nile became an obsession, a race that captured the imagination of the public and drove adventurers to face incredible hardships in the heart of Africa, a continent then largely unknown to the outside world. Expeditions from France, Italy, and the Ottoman Empire all set out, each hoping to be the first to solve the riddle. Among these adventurers were the British explorers John Hanning Speke and Richard Francis Burton, whose partnership and rivalry would become legendary in the annals of exploration. In 1858, on a previous expedition, Speke and Burton endured disease, exhaustion, and conflict as they pushed deeper into the unknown. Speke eventually reached the shores of a vast inland sea, which he named Lake Victoria in honor of the British Queen. He developed a theory that this massive lake was the long-sought-after reservoir that fed the Nile. Local communities had long known of the lake's power, but to the outside world it was a revelation. However, he lacked definitive proof, and his claim was met with skepticism back in London. The Royal Geographical Society demanded more evidence, and the public followed the unfolding drama with fascination. Determined to prove his theory, Speke mounted a second expedition, arriving back in the region to find the exact point where the river left the lake. He relied on the knowledge and support of local guides and communities whose expertise was crucial to the journey's success. In 1862, after a long and arduous journey, Speke finally stood on the northern shore of Lake Victoria near the modern-day town of Jinja in Uganda. The moment was the culmination of years of effort and risk. There, he witnessed a powerful river flowing out of the lake over a series of rapids, the mighty force that would become the White Nile. He named them Ripon Falls, after the president of the Royal Geographical Society. This was the moment of discovery, the confirmation that his theory was correct. Speke's journal captured the awe and relief of finally solving the ancient mystery. He had found the source of the White Nile, setting in motion a new era of exploration and scientific study. He famously sent a telegram back to London with the triumphant message, "The Nile is settled." The world celebrated, and Speke became a hero of his age. While we now know the river system is more complex, with many streams feeding Lake Victoria, Speke's discovery was a monumental achievement in the history of exploration. Today, scientists continue to study the Nile's intricate network, uncovering new secrets with each expedition. Today, the world that Speke saw has changed. The river remains a vital part of life for millions, its story woven into the fabric of African history and culture. The Ripon Falls he described were submerged in the 1950s by the construction of a hydroelectric dam, a symbol of the modern era's need to harness the river's power. The balance between progress and preservation remains a challenge for those who depend on the Nile. Yet the Nile's journey continues. New generations of explorers, scientists, and local communities are still drawn to its mysteries, seeking to understand its changing rhythms and protect its future. The story of Speke's quest is a reminder of the deep human connection to this river, a desire to understand and connect with its immense power and mystery. For countless generations, the Nile has been a source of inspiration, sustenance, and discovery. The Nile is more than just a flow of water. It is a river of history, of nature, and of human endeavor. Its banks have witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the birth of civilizations, and the ongoing quest for knowledge. Its wild waters continue to inspire awe and wonder, just as they did for the explorers who risked everything to find its source. The story of discovery is far from over. The Nile still calls to those who seek to unlock its secrets. Gap 2S. At the very heart of Africa, where dense rainforests meet sprawling highlands, lies the true beginning of the Nile, a place as legendary as the river itself. For millennia, the source of the Nile has been more than a geographical fact. It has been a wellspring of myths, a symbol of life and creation, and a riddle that has beckoned to dreamers and scientists alike. Ancient Egyptians believed the river flowed from a mysterious mountain at the edge of the world, a gift from the gods that brought fertility to their land. In their stories, the Nile's source was hidden by divine will, protected by spirits, and guarded by the unknown. Greek historians spun tales of great lakes and snow-capped peaks feeding the river's endless flow, while Arab explorers spoke of the mountains of the moon, mythical highlands cloaked in mist, their slopes veiled from human eyes. The truth, as revealed by centuries of exploration, is just as remarkable. The Nile's primary sources are the headwaters of the White Nile, rising from the lush hills of Burundi and Rwanda, and the Blue Nile, which begins in the Ethiopian highlands at Lake Tana. These distant origins, separated by thousands of kilometers, merge in the vast Sudanese plains, forming the world's longest river. But even today, pinpointing the true source of the Nile remains a challenge. Modern scientific expeditions have trekked through remote forests, scaled rugged mountains, and followed twisting streams in search of the river's most distant spring. Satellite imagery, GPS mapping, and drone surveys have brought new clarity, revealing a complex web of tributaries that feed the Nile's mighty flow. Yet the allure of mystery endures. Local legends tell of sacred springs and hidden pools where the river is born, watched over by ancient spirits. In these places, science and myth blend seamlessly, and the story of the Nile becomes a tapestry woven from fact and imagination. The quest to understand the Nile's origin is a testament to human curiosity. A journey that spans continents and centuries, it is a reminder that some mysteries are not meant to be solved completely, but cherished for the wonder they inspire. As long as the Nile flows, its source will remain a place of legend, discovery, and enduring fascination. Across the sands of time, the Nile has been far more than a river. It has been the lifeblood of civilizations, most famously Egypt and Nubia, shaping the course of human history for thousands of years. Each year, the river's predictable floods transformed barren desert into a ribbon of green, depositing rich silt that nourished crops and allowed ancient farmers to reap bountiful harvests. Wheat and barley fields flourished along its banks, sustaining powerful kingdoms and feeding growing cities, but the Nile was more than just a provider of food. Its waters became the foundation for a dazzling culture. Temples and pyramids rose from the river's edge, their stones inscribed with stories of gods and pharaohs. The ancient Egyptians believed the Nile itself was divine, a sacred path traversed by the sun god Ra, and a channel between the world of the living and the realm of the dead. To the south, the kingdom of Nubia thrived, its people mastering the river's currents to trade gold, ivory, and incense. The Nile served as a highway, connecting distant peoples, spreading art, technology, and ideas across continents. Along its banks, hieroglyphs and monuments recorded triumphs and tragedies, preserving the memory of kings and commoners alike. The rhythm of the Nile dictated every aspect of life. Festivals celebrated the arrival of the floods, and calendars were set by the river's rise and fall. Ingenious irrigation systems and canals were built to harness its power, turning the valley into one of the most fertile places on Earth. In the shadow of the Nile, mathematics, astronomy, and medicine flourished, laying the groundwork for achievements that still inspire us today. The story of the Nile is the story of civilization itself, a testament to the enduring bond between people and the natural world. From the pyramids of Giza to the temples of Nubia, its legacy endures, flowing through the pages of history and into the present day. Today, the Nile remains a vital artery for millions, but its future is more uncertain than ever. As populations surge along its banks, the demand for fresh water grows relentlessly. Cities expand, farms multiply, and industries rise, each drawing from the river's lifeblood. Yet the Nile is no longer just a local resource. 11 nations rely on its waters, from the highlands of Ethiopia to the delta in Egypt. This shared dependency has sparked complex international negotiations and sometimes disputes over how the river's flow should be divided. Projects like Ethiopia's Grand Renaissance Dam have raised hopes for development, but also fears of water shortages downstream. Climate change adds another layer of uncertainty. Shifting rainfall patterns threaten the delicate balance that has sustained the Nile for millennia. Droughts grow longer, floods more unpredictable. The fertile green ribbon could shrink, endangering crops and livelihoods. In response, scientists, engineers, and policymakers are searching for solutions. Innovations in water management, new agreements among nations, and sustainable farming practices offer hope. But the challenges are immense, and the stakes are nothing less than the survival of communities and ecosystems shaped by the river for thousands of years. The Nile's story is still being written. Its future will depend on cooperation, ingenuity, and a deep respect for the natural rhythms that have long defined its course. As the world changes, so too must our relationship with this ancient river, ensuring it continues to flow, not just through the land, but through the lives of generations yet to come. Beneath the vast skies and along the winding banks of the Nile lies a world teeming with life, a living tapestry woven from countless species, each playing a vital role in the river's grand ecosystem. The Nile Basin is a cradle of biodiversity, home to a remarkable array of plants and animals found nowhere else on Earth. Dense papyrus reeds sway at the water's edge, sheltering rare birds like the elusive shoebill stork and the vibrant African jacana. In the river's depths, schools of shimmering Nile perch and the legendary tigerfish dart between submerged roots, while delicate aquatic plants filter and purify the flowing water. Vast floodplains host grazing antelope, secretive leopards, and colorful butterflies that dance above wildflowers. The forests and wetlands bordering the river are sanctuaries for endangered species such as the Nubian giraffe and the African manatee, gentle giants whose survival depends on the fragile balance of this ecosystem. Each species, from the tiniest insect to the mightiest crocodile, plays a part in maintaining the health of the Nile. Together they create a resilient web of life, supporting not only wildlife but also the millions of people who depend on the river for food, medicine, and inspiration. Yet this natural heritage faces mounting threats. Habitat loss, pollution, and invasive species all challenge the delicate balance. Preserving the biodiversity of the Nile Basin is not just about saving rare creatures. It is about safeguarding the very foundation of life along the river. By protecting these habitats and respecting the intricate connections between species, we ensure that the Nile continues to nurture both nature and humanity. The story of the Nile is not only written in the flow of its waters, but in the vibrant diversity of life it sustains, a testament to the enduring power and beauty of the world's longest river.